So the relationship between Atem and Yugi, probably the most two famous and notable characters in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! Now I'm joined with Dimzy's Domain. Please introduce yourself.
Yes, let's talk about Atem and Yugi. It's gonna be a great discussion to talk about how they, the general relationship and how it grew and how it just progressed. Yeah, let's talk about it.
Now, we did a debate that initially started all this. It's called Is Yugi the True King Games? Link down below and a few other videos that me and Dimzy did. But pretty much we're going to be talking about the progression between Atem and Yugi's relationship in Duel Monsters. Now, I'm going to be talking about the manga side of things, and Dimzy is mostly going to be talking about Duel Monsters anime, and I'll be joining in here and there. But the thing is, in the early manga, Kaz didn't know what he was going to do. He was just doing random stuff here and there. But once he got to that 7th volume, he decided to switch it up, and he figured out the base of the Yu-Gi-Oh plot. When we first see Yami's introduction, and we see him through the random games and the shadow duels, Yugi doesn't know of Atem. He doesn't know that someone's taking over him. We see that many times throughout each chapter of the manga. But the thing is, it's interesting because Yugi, as he's the host of the body, he doesn't realize that someone's taking over this person, this little individual, and it helps his character grow. Now, do you want to talk about the whole baseline of how Atem is guidance in a sense?
Exactly. He is Yugi's greatest teacher. He's his best example. And when you have a teacher, what's the best way for them to teach is through example. They go through, let's say, a maths problem. They go through the problem and then they show you how to do it. Whereas Atem inhibited Yugi's body, showed him how to make friends, how to duel, how to do all of these essential things within this Yu-Gi-Oh universe. And here's the thing, it started off with the whole Yugi's looking up at Atem in sheer admiration, because at the same time Yugi knew absolutely nothing about Atem. That's because Atem knew nothing about himself anyway. So he's truly just admiring the characteristics of Atem. And likewise in the manga, as you said, the characteristics of Atem was vastly different, and it contrasted Yugi's own characteristics. And that's how, because look, they were both extremes. One was extremely timid, one was extremely confident. And as it progressed, especially in the anime, Yugi and Atem both reached some sort of middle ground where they both learn of each other. But mainly Yugi was learning of Atem, but Atem was also learning of Yugi in the sense of what it means to have friends, what it means to be a good friend, what it means to be compassionate. I guess the compassion side is more pronounced in the manga side of things. I guess you can tell me about. You can speak about that more. Wasn't Atem more savage? How was the relationship in the beginning?
So first of all, they didn't know about each other. They didn't have a relationship. Yami just came in and he saved people, and he basically killed people through shadow games. The thing is, what I noticed when I was reading the manga is that Kaz, he tried his hardest, and I mean hardest, to show the contrast of characters. Now, if you read the manga, in the sense of a reviewer, you'll notice that when there are dark scenes, right? When there are dark scenes of Yami, for example, for Yushia, right? They have that death match about the knife and about the money, who stabs it. Prior to all that, just dark things that Yugi would do, or Yami would do. Yugi was doing all these pure-hearted things, not for stopping Yushio, even though Junochi and Honda bullied Yugi. He stopped them from attacking him. Kaz tried his hardest, even in future chapters as well. For example, one of the chapters in volume 1 of the Yu-Gi-Oh manga, when this prisoner escapes from prison and he's running away from the police, and he gets kind of bored, right? He comes into the shop that Taya works at, right? He comes in and he takes her as hostage. But the thing is, do you really think Yugi would have done anything?
No, he actually wouldn't.
He wouldn't have done anything. That's when Yami comes in, and and I think in that chapter he cements himself as a badass to the viewers, because this is what he does, right? He defeats him in the most badass manner ever. Yami's there chilling. The thing is, this dude has a gun to Anzu's head. Yami's just chilling there on the back, and he has his shadow game and he defeats him. He saves Anzu as well. Another very notable moment is in chapter 2, I'm pretty sure, called the Lying Eye, right? Thing is, this person, his name's head director, and he has an assistant, his name's Fujeta. They're hosting this TV show, and they need a vessel of some sort to produce the show. So they use Yugi. And this is a very good example to show the compare and contrast of the characters. Yugi comes in, right, and he looks at the car and he's like, oh wow, I can't believe that's it. And then the head director's like, oh, we're gonna use Yugi as the pawn, basically. Fujeta's the assistant director, and he has to basically lure Yugi into this certain part of the school, and they pay somebody to beat him up and they bullying him, right? Yugi wouldn't have done anything. He would just took the beating. But that's when Yami comes in. Yami comes in and he switches the whole scenario. He basically hunts down the head director, at the place where they're gonna distribute the film and stuff. He comes down and he defeats him in a shadow duel as well. The thing with Yugi and Yami's relationship is that they're both kind, right? They're both doing it for justice, but they have different ways of approaching it. Now, Yami has this way of approaching it in dark ways, and Yugi has this way of, oh, don't harm anyone, don't do this. It's not the right way, just let it be, and I'll do it. For example, chapter 3, I'm pretty sure, where Hakuna-san and this music guy, he's like, oh, you better sell the tickets. And he's hitting weak people like Yugi and Hakuna-san. They're both very low confident people. Yugi has to sell these tickets in a certain amount of time. Yugi tries to sell it to Hakuna-san, and Hakuna-san's like, Yugi, I have the tickets as well. They both had it, but you know what Yugi does? Out of pure kindness, he's like, Hakuna-san, give me the tickets and I'll sell them for you. Would Yami do that? What do you think, Dimzy?
No, he wouldn't. And that's the thing. Yugi was very naive to start off, and that was his trait. If I were to cap off my thoughts and just really, this is what I think of the relationship between Yugi and Yami, or Yugi and Atem, is that it starts off with a teacher-like student relationship, and then as time goes on, when Yugi's far more aware, actually no, it's like, you know how when you beg someone, hey, can you take my place and so on and do the test for me? That's how it began, where Yami just interrupted Yugi's life at these very stressful times, and he just took over and he done his stuff, like you said, when he's saving Taya. But then it became more like a teacher-student relationship, and then a little bit after that, and this is what I think the relationship is right now, it's a big brother little brother relationship. Although Atem is 3,000 years older or 5,000 years older, depending on the anime or the manga, whatever interpretation you take, but it's a big brother little brother relationship, and that's exactly where we are now. And by the end, it becomes a brotherly relationship where none are superior to each other, because the same amount of respect that Yugi had for Atem from the beginning, Atem has that equal, if not more, respect towards Yugi. So it's a very symbiotic, brotherly, sibling-like relationship, which I think they develop through the course of a couple of years or so, throughout Duelist Kingdom, Battle City and all that, and especially through the memory games. And that was the main like nail in the coffin. Well, not coffin because they have to go to the afterlife, but that was the real personification of the actual relationship between Yugi and Atem. I think, yeah, sibling relationship, big brother, little brother, both with dodgy hair.
Now, I want to talk a little bit more about the changing point, the turning point of this relationship, because all the way up, right, all the way up till Duelist Kingdom, it's Yami. Yami's helping out Yugi, but that one portion, right, that one duel, and I think you know what I'm talking about, between Kaiba and Yugi. Kaiba puts his life at risk, right, and Yami's about to attack. He doesn't care. He doesn't give two craps about Kaiba. Exactly. But Yugi comes in and he stops the attack. I don't think people realize how good of a turning point and how pivotal that is towards Atem's character.
That's when Atem was starting to realize that what's going on, and he's learning. That's when he thought to himself, let me start to learn from Yugi. In my opinion, that's when he's like, okay, I don't know nothing about this time period in terms of humanity and how people think, so I'm gonna observe Yugi from now on, and I'm gonna start taking a more closer look at things. I can bring and dish out my own sense of justice. However, my justice could be the same, could be classed as villainy to some, and that's why it was that one duel, that one act, which made Atem reconsider his whole position.
But another duel, the Atem versus my duel, right? Yugi's off, Yami's off. He's not winning the duel because in the English dub it's because Yugi's getting to his mind, right? Because Yugi's holding him back, but it was in Pegasus. But the thing is, Yami was off due to the fact that of the whole Seto Kaiba moment. He didn't know that what he was doing was wrong, alright? Yugi's holding him back, and he's like, Yugi, I'll listen to you from now on, alright? We'll agree upon things. That's when that brotherly relationship develops. And then another portion, right after Duelist Kingdom ends, right? They have the aftermath. They go through all this character development, this insane character development, and they're talking to each other. They're like, oh, we'll listen to each other. Like in the Japanese version, they call each other Aibo, which is partner basically. And that's basically what they are. Now, I want to skip ahead to season 5, the final duel.
Yeah.
The final moment, the final change. This is the most important challenge in all of Yugi's life, probably even for Atem's life. I think it's probably second behind of finding out who he is. But the thing is, this duel is so insane because you look at Yugi, right? He's a little weak, timid boy, as you say. He doesn't fit in society, and he watches his pharaoh throughout the 5 seasons or 2-3 years, and he develops his personality. He develops his dominance, and they're versing each other, and he defeats the person. He defeats his mentor. Do you want to expound more upon that?
Yes, it's just, the student becomes the teacher. He conquers the teacher, and it wasn't more so Yugi surpassed Atem. which is what people seem to take from that. They extrapolate that, oh no, Yugi has surpassed in his skills. No. That's not the important thing. It's the fact of their relationship, that they are finally on equal terms. As I said in the beginning of the video when I spoke, that Yugi has always been looking up. It's at that duel where he can finally look him square in the eye, on the same plane, on the same level. So when he defeated Atem, it really did show and represent the fact that I have learned all that I need to. Thank you. His gratitude, he's very, very grateful for all the things that Yami, that Atem, because they found out the name, etc. That Atem has shown him and taught him, and now he's used the things that Atem has taught him specifically. He's used the things which he's learned through observation, and he beat and he defeated Atem, and that was, yes, as you said, in my opinion, the most important point in all of Yu-Gi-Oh, and especially for their relationship. It became brotherly. It became not just little brother, big brother. It became two brothers who are also partners, who are on equal footing, who are business partners, who are equals in every regard possible. They really did cap off that little that little character arc between those two characters, being Yugi and Atem.
Now, I'm not going to go into DSO deep, but the thing is, from the trailers, we get that realization, that one scene of Yugi looking at Atem's deck and he thinks about him. Just imagine that, alright? You go through this journey with your quote-unquote partner and you lose him, right? That's probably also one of the most challenging things for Yugi.
Yeah, it's that bond they created, isn't it?
Yeah, the bond's basically destroyed. It's destroyed physically, but mentally, it's always there.
Exactly.
The final, and this is probably one of my favorite things to discuss about, the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. That scene, alright? We see Yugi all grown up. He's moving on with his life. This is 10 years in the future, guys. Note that. 10 years without Atem. 10 years he looks like Atem, which I kind of like. I kind of like that he's taking up that throne, taking up that look of being the next Atem, being his incarnation. Now, do you want to talk more about that, dude?
I guess we can really... Okay, I'll quickly speak on this and then I'll plug in this massive video which you guys need to check out. But in terms of Yugi becoming essentially a duplicate of Atem, we saw his arms are a little bit more muscular, he's more wise, he even in that split second when he was interacting with Jaden, he took on the teacher role, he took on that mentor role which was accustomed to him for Atem. From day one everyone thought, okay, Atem is the guy that teaches us everything. In GX we saw that Yugi essentially is the teacher, he's the main teacher, he's like the granddaddy of all teachers right now. He's revered, he's at such a high stature. And you have to think about from how low and how timid this guy was to being the absolute greatest, and especially in the past 10 years he done it all on his own, and that was, as I said, it did cap off the character arc in the ceremonial duel, but this was just the fruits of sowing the seeds and growing this new tree that essentially is Yugi.
Thank you very much, Dimzy. But the thing is, I want you guys to check out Dimzy's video, which will be going up around the same time as this video, the relationship between Yami, Bakura, and Bakura. It will be linked down below. So thank you very much for watching and have a great day.